Broadcasting to you live from the crazy train barreling through Southern California, it's the Hollywood Horror Nerds, your number one source for news, speculation, and discussion exclusively for Universal Studios Hollywood's Horror Nights. And now, to your hosts, Undead Ed, and our crazy train conductor, Ozzy Osborne. All right, welcome everyone to the latest episode of the Hollywood Horror Nerds, and welcome to my latest co-host, Ozzy. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Enjoying
Can you give us an all aboard?
all aboard this crazy train. Choo choo.
Okay, I don't know if you listen to a lot of
I have not.
Ozzy Osbourne music.
I have not.
Well, we'll give you a track list. And the reason that we're on the crazy train is, of course, one of the new mazes announced for Halloween Horror Nights this year, Ozzy Osborne, the Prince of Madness. You heard it here first. This was something I predicted way back in December before any speculation was out. I think it was even early December. It was like November. I was first on the ground for this one.
It was almost like right after Horror Nights finished last year.
It was, because Ozzy passed away during Horror Nights last year, and I said there's no way they're going to pass up a chance to do a tribute to Ozzy, because the Black Sabbath has been at the event before. Marty loves classic 80s metal. The music is so tied to the event, and this is the last real, I mean, you could do it later on, but this is really the last chance to do an Ozzy maze like this. I'm super excited it's coming. Marty seems super excited about it. It's going to be great. That's only one of 3 new houses that have been announced since the last time you've heard from us. There's also Evil Dead Burn and an original maze, Dead, Deader, Deadest. On top of the maze announcements, there's exciting news in the world of the scare zones, where we're getting an IP licensed scare zone in Fortnite-mares. We don't play Fortnite, but I know it's a huge franchise. I think that's going to draw a lot of crowds. And there's some unfortunate news as well we're going to cover about what show's going to be in the Waterworld Theater. It's a little too horrible for me to really want to think about, so I'm going to save that when we get there. There's a lot coming your way, and this is actually going to be part 1 of the recording for us, because right now we're on the crazy train in our minds. We're also in Long Beach, California for Midsummer Scream Saturday night, and tomorrow is going to be the Halloween Horror Nights panel led by John Marty himself, and he has teased 13 new announcements for that panel. We know there's going to be at least, well, I think there's only one maze left to announce.
Yeah.
The Latin America maze is what we believe it's going to be, as well as the Terror Tram and some potential new food offerings. So we have a lot to cover. In fact, we have so much to cover that I forgot one fell by the wayside, but the Killer Klownz from Outer Space, I forgot about it. It's been soft confirmed for so long, because we've seen the construction happening, but now it is officially confirmed, coming back.
The official announcement happened like within the last 2 weeks.
We did talk about it more. We talked about it on the last one, because it was pretty obvious, but now it's official. So we have a lot to cover. Let's just get into it right away.
All right, let's go.
All right, Ozzy, I'm going to go from what I think is the best to worst. We're already started talking about Ozzy Osborne, Prince of Darkness, and you are not a big fan of classic 80s metal.
That is incorrect. Okay, first of all, I am not a music file. Audiophile.
That's how you can tell you're not an audiophile.
Exactly. Yeah. See, there you go.
Yes.
I am not an audiophile. I like music when it's presented to me right now. Like if you were to play some Black Sabbath, I'd be like, I like this music. It's great. And then like a week later, if you ask me like, so how did you think about Black Sabbath? I'd be like, the what now? So that'll tell you about my music taste. It's very all over the place, and I can't get onto it.
But you do understand, and I know this we've talked about before, that this kind of classic metal, the vibe of it, for lack of a better word, has been very tied to the Horror Nights identity from the start. And we've actually been seeing it getting pushed out of the park in recent years, where they've been playing pop music on the stairwell.
Yes.
And they've had artists like The Weeknd, which actually turned to a good maze, but the point is there's been pop musicians coming through and doing mazes.
Well, that's what's popular now.
Well, that's why it's called pop.
Exactly.
But the heavy metal from the 80s, the stuff that is still around, I mean, it really endured. It stood the test of at least, 40 years.
I like glam rock in terms of that era.
They haven't done any. They haven't had a Bon Jovi, but
Uh,
maybe because Millie's coming back this year, they'll have a.
if they do a Twisted Sisters maze, I'll
That
be
would
all
be
over
that would
it.
be something the D. Snyder maze. So Ozzy is coming back. This has been done in coordination with his surviving family. So his son and
Sharon.
Sharon are both on board. And Ozzy is I mean, he's a real seminal figure in the metal world. Black Sabbath was an early band kind of in that movement.
Mm-hmm.
Started, I believe, in the 70s. Ozzy went independent in the 80s, but he always would still work with Black. I don't think it was an acrimonious split. He just wanted to do his
No.
own thing too. And they did do a Black Sabbath maze actually very early on in the history of Hollywood Horror Nights. It was Black Sabbath 13. And this maze is going to be focused on Ozzy Osbourne's solo career. So you're not going to be hearing Paranoid. You're not going to be hearing War Pigs. You're not going to be hearing Iron Man for our metalheads out there. You are going to be hearing Crazy Train, of course, probably his most iconic song. You'll be hearing Bark at the Moon. You'll be hearing Diary of a Madman.
Mm.
The subtitle for this maze, I believe, originally was Memoirs of a Madman, is how kind of Murdy has conceived it. Murdy has a real, I've been reading what he's been saying about this maze. He has a real kind of personal connection with Ozzy. Both he did know him a little bit because he walked him through the Black Sabbath maze they did, and Ozzy loved it. But also, he's just a very influential kind of figure in Murdy's youth. He talked about when he was a kid, and he really connected to the music. It was kind of an outsider kind of vibe, and he was kind of an outsider when he was growing up. I think a lot of people from that era felt that way and gravitated to the metal culture. Everyone who was kind of into horror kind of got into it because they were all the outsiders. So it was something for them. And Ozzy was a great stage runner. He's famous for biting the head off a bat live on stage. He was a really out there guy.
I think he's not allowed in Texas because of
He
similar.
might not be. I mean, it definitely made PETA angry. It was animal abuse.
You mean animal death?
Yeah, pretty extreme, but it was also showmanship and a little scary. So it has a place at Horror Nights, and this is I think Ozzy would like this as a tribute to him. It's something I think he would. I think that's why the family is on board. Murdy said something. He had the idea that he should do this pretty much immediately after the passing. That this would be something for next year, and the family is on board. And the family also, through Jack, who was, I think it's Jack, as his son, said he wants different mazes on both coasts. So we're going to have the Orlando version and the Hollywood version. So maybe the super fans need to see both. I think I'll be content with the Hollywood version, which I'm excited about the Hollywood because Murdy is bringing that personal experience he had, that personal connection. I think it's going to be, Murdy said this is the maze he's most excited about for this year. I think it's going to be a real showstopper. I'm hoping we hear Ozzy's music not only in the maze, which we definitely will. I saw the walkthrough of Black Sabbath. You can tell in different rooms they're playing different Black Sabbath songs. I'm expecting that same experience through this one, where you'll hear the progression of his career and all the different hits, which will be really fun. You'll be kind of, maybe not dancing because it's metal, but you'll be headbanging your way through the maze. I'm hoping we hear also in the park, on the stairwells on your way. And I want to hear some Ozzy going off. I want as much as I can. I think it's going to be really, it's funny because we talked about Stranger Things will become a bittersweet maze because it's the end of that.
It's the end of the era for that.
It's a real end of the era. And this is also going to be a little bittersweet because I think it's going to be a lot of fun, but it's also the end of a great career and really kind of a turning the page on a whole era of music in a way.
Yeah. Because all these great artists are getting old in general.
Yeah. It's something I might use. I've been to, like, I saw Bon Jovi play. I've seen Bruce Springsteen play. I've seen some of these old guys play. And yeah, you're right. They're not. Yeah. Some of them aren't touring anymore. No. A lot of them, I think, are going to tour until they drop. Right, like Rolling Stones are going to just keep touring. I think they love it, but they're not going to be around forever.
If I'm not mistaken, some of them dress really young, and then some of them dress their age.
Yeah. And I mean, it's the metal. I actually like quite a bit of modern. There's quite a bit of modern metal that I do listen to. A lot of it comes out of Europe now, like in Scandinavia. But definitely the style of metal from the 80s, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest is not really being done anymore. And the stuff that's coming out now is a very different vibe. It's not really the same Horror Nights vibe. It's not something that's really just done in music anymore. So it will be a lot of nostalgia in this one, even for us who aren't children of the 80s.
No, we're definitely not. We're born a little too late to really feel that music live and in person at its peak.
But I think I think you can ask for a better funeral
or tribute rather.
Yes. So that is obviously very hyped up. I don't know if it's my number one over Hellraiser, but I would say my hype is very high.
Yeah.
My hype is very. I don't want to. It's hard to put a number on this one. I would say if Hellraiser is a 10, this one would be like 9.5. It's close. It's very close.
I don't know. I feel like considering that Murdy put his extra special touch on this one, I expect it to be really, if not a 10, at least an 11.
Yeah. Well, I think you would please a lot of metal fans turn it up to 11.
Exactly.
The next one that was announced, actually, I don't remember the order these were announced. So this is the next one we're going to talk about, just going through as a progression, is Evil Dead Burn. This is based on the new movie. It's now in theaters. It did not really get the same reception as Evil Dead Rise, which was kind of a surprise breakout hit. This one did not really seem to land the same way reception-wise or at the box office. This one is about the house is on fire this time. That's why it's Evil Dead Burn.
Hmm.
Infernal force, I'm just going to read the description. The infernal force has taken hold of a family home. It's hungry for its next victim. Dodge Deadites hell-bent on bloodshed in this haunted house based on the new film Evil Dead Burn. I believe this one is going to be sharing time with Hellraiser at the Curious George parking lot area. So it's the one where you go past Hogsmeade to get to. Always a pretty heavily trafficked area
Yes.
for the event. I think Hellraiser is definitely going to be the big drop. I think everyone's going to go there. Is going to want to do Evil Dead Burn as well. This is not the first time Evil Dead's come to them. We just mentioned Evil Dead Rise. They also had an Ash versus Evil Dead maze that I think I went on. It was a year we didn't go together. I don't know if you remember it.
2017, no, 2018.
Maybe 18, I think.
18.
Um,
Or 19.
it was solid. And that was the closest they've ever come to doing like just a classic Evil Dead because it did feature the classic cabin. It had the Ash character was played by Bruce Campbell was in that maze. They've never really just done Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness. I've never had a maze. So this is the third time Evil Dead's coming. It's always been kind of a modern version of Evil Dead. People clamor for an Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness maze. The rights are tricky to those movies. It's a tangled web, the rights for the Evil Dead movie. Because Sam Raimi was making these with just whoever would give him money. He was like, yes, give me the money to make my movie. I don't care. You can have whatever rights you want in perpetuity.
Yeah.
So the rights are very distributed. It's hard to get all those people to sit down and agree, which is probably why we've done the modern iterations. And this one, my hype is not as high. I have less gushing to say about it than I did about the Ozzy maze. I haven't seen this one. The new Evil Dead movies don't really do much for me. Even though I love the old ones, but for me, Evil Dead is so tied into that Ash character with Bruce Campbell and with Sam Raimi involved creatively. So even if he's only produced like the TV series, he only produced, but you'd still feel his influence very much in that series. And these new strings they've done with both of those two, Campbell's not in the movies. Raimi's stepped much further back in the background. It feels like it's their own original movies that just happen to be called Evil Dead.
Same.
And maybe you see the Necronomicon, but it's not what I'm looking for in an Evil Dead movie. And I just haven't.
So
been
for you, in a
interested.
sense, it's tied to the nostalgia.
It's a certain vibe. I have to go back to the word. I was trying to find it better, but there's no other word again to describe it.
The vibes
There's
were
a
off.
certain feel to the classic Evil Deads of this very much gonzo, one guy with a camera and a story he's really going to have fun telling you, and an actor who is going to chew a lot of scenery and have a lot of fun doing it, and kind of very campy. And these new Evil Dead movies have gone very much into very heavy gore and trying to ramp up the horror, but they've lost that campiness that I thought really
The
made
essence.
and that's what made Evil Dead for me was it did have for its time pretty heavy gore. Even if you watch Evil Dead 1 to this day, it is a little shocking. And a lot of that's due to the low budget way that they were accomplishing what they were doing. But it did have that camp element, and you will really lose the low budget element, which I always thought was
Well, yeah. Once
because
you,
you're seeing effects and you know they're effects, but you're just kind of impressed that they pulled that off.
well, now you're talking like big money industry behind them.
Yeah, these new Evil Dead movies are corporate.
Yeah,
Right.
they've sold out.
You're right. It's not the underdog horror
No.
franchise anymore. So not super interested in the series. As a maze, I think it's fine. I would say it's fairly neutral on it.
Mhm.
Like Evil Dead as a maze is a replacement level maze for me.
Oh,
Like you could, it's not bad, right? It's not an actively bad maze that
but you wouldn't be sad if you heard all of a sudden it's been cut. We're replacing it with this.
right. If we replace it with something better, I'd be excited. If you replace it with a something worse, I'd be less excited. I mean, that's I just said nothing essentially.
Yeah.
But there's a concept in baseball of the replacement level player. And that's what I meant. So in baseball, there's this stat called wins above replacement. And it measures if you just took a generic guy, right? Like not a guy, but a generic professional level baseball player, you plugged him in, how many wins would he generate in the season? And if you are really good, you generate maybe 5 wins above replacement level. And if you're bad, you're 2 below. So this is the baseline. And Evil Dead Maze to me is like the baseline generic Horror Nights Maze. It's not bad. The scenery is fine. It's decent scares. Usually a lot of energy comes out of the characters in this one. The costumes are fine. But there's not a lot that I'm really getting up on. I feel like, wow, this is something like really new I'm seeing, or there's something really creative here, or there's a really fun twist. It's just solid scares, solid acting, decent setting. Now it's over. I'm on to the next thing.
You're more like it's they're doing the expected versus the unexpected.
But it's not like Exorcist Believer where I'm like, I wish that there was anything else. Like this isn't making it's not Monsters Unchained. Like, oh my god, this is making the event worse that it's here. It's not making things worse.
No, this is not the what is it? The women of
the 3 Monsteros.
Yeah.
Monsteroses. This is fine. It's filler. It's a fine filler maze.
That's not the wrestling maze.
That was just a scare zone.
No, the wrestling maze was a maze.
Nope, it was a scare zone. Oh, I mean the Fireflies.
Yeah.
I thought you meant the Luchadors.
Yeah. No, not the Luchadors.
Yeah, the Fireflies I would say was a step. Like I'm more excited for this than I would be for a WWE event.
Yeah,
I feel like I kind of wish that wasn't coming. Yeah. Or if like Billie Eilish was to come one of these years, that would be a negative maze for me.
Billie is a huge no, I'm just kidding.
So I don't have much to say about other than that. I'm sure it'll be fine. I think if you're way into the movie, you guys will be excited for it. I don't know if anyone really is.
I stopped watching it after the 80s, the old classics.
The old ones are the ones.
Yeah.
If they ever brought Evil Dead 2 Army of Darkness, that would be a very high for me.
I just love the dancing dead girlfriend when she's
rolling her head around. Yeah,
that's
classic scene.
I can't watch the new ones. Anyways, moving on.
I'll just briefly mention it. We're into non-IP, but like we said, Killer Klownz confirmed.
Confirmed.
At this point, we already knew what was coming back. So we've seen the construction happening. This one for us, I think this is a good example of a negative maze because we've seen it 3 times now.
But in theory, they could change it up a little bit.
If they change it, they have to change it a lot.
Yeah.
The rumor has been that they're going to upgrade the ending and actually have a bigger Clownzilla at the end. Which in the climax of the movie, all the clowns kind of jump. There's a giant clown, and they call him Clownzilla, and they have to fight him. And that's never really been in the maze. I think it was in the Orlando version, but not the Hollywood version. And the rumors this year that they're finally going to have Clownzilla at the end, which is fun to see one new effect. But still, for me, one little taste of something new at the end does not equal worth going through 98% of the same.
What if they added the clown girls?
No, that was not my vibe.
No.
So it is coming now. Again, if you haven't done it before, I think you'll actually have a good time. I would prioritize it.
But this movie is all camp. Like
it's too camp. No, I like the movie.
Yeah.
And I like the maze. It's just I don't want to do it a 3rd time
in a row.
Too many times in a row. More interesting for me is the original maze that's been announced. It's called Deader, Deadest. And this is the one we were speculating about the construction. The construction looks kind of Art Deco, and we saw this Deville on top of it. And now we understand more about what this facade is. It's a mortuary. It is the Deville Family Funeral Home. When a miracle embalming drug backfires, the Deville Family Funeral Home's permanent residents rise from their graves, dead set on terrorizing the living in this haunted house. So it is a zombie maze with a hint of haunted, so it's a little singe of ghost in there. We know the last original zombie maze they did was Dead Exposure Death Valley, which we loved. They knocked that one out of the park. So I am excited just from the jump of...
Was this with Zombie Gorilla?
That was with the Zombie Gorilla.
Got it. I love that.
So even though this one isn't tied to that in terms of story or location, it does have that original zombie, which makes me excited to see what new ideas do they have in that world? 'Cause they did so well on the last one. And interesting on the story front, this actually connects to the Universal Horror Hotel maze. It's a lot of H's in there. And that was one of my favorite originals as well. This was one that actually came in to replace Evil Dead Rise, and Evil Dead Rise pulled out, and we did both. And I said, I think the Horror Hotel maze was actually far superior.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
I thought it was a really fun story about the Deville family. There's this crazy, rich guy who's in all of these secret cabals and all these secret cults. And now it turns out not only was he running the Hollywood Hotel, he was also running the Deville Family Funeral Home. And no doubt he's up to weird shenanigans there as well. So I'm excited to see, are they going to bring the cult storyline back in, or is it going to be a whole original just about this crazy embalming fluid? I've also loved what they did with the original Larry Larva. And this kind of feels like it has that same kind of camp to it. It has a little bit of Reanimator vibe, if you know your 80s horror. It just something about when I see the art for this, I think Reanimator. You don't want to hear the name Dead, Dead, or Deadest. It just has that kind of camp to it that I like in my horror. So this one, as an original, it's a little harder to grade out the originals, but I would say pretty high for an original. I'm excited for this one.
All right.
What about you? You love zombies.
I love zombies. They're my jam. They're my bread and butter in terms of horror that I choose to watch. Anything that has zombies in it, I will watch it, even if it's especially like some of these foreign films. I'm really into them just because I love zombies. I'm anything that's a zombie movie, I will watch.
If I put you on the spot and I say name your favorite foreign zombie movie, do you have one?
Train to Busan.
It's a good choice.
Train to Busan.
And that is going to conclude the maze portion of our show for now.
Yeah.
We're going to come back after tomorrow night, which will be Sunday night, and you're going to listen to this either on Monday or Tuesday, depending on when I put it out. We usually do Monday. I'm thinking of changing it to Tuesdays. We'll see. And we're hoping to hear what the Latin America, we believe it is the Latin America maze, will be in that same area.
Yeah.
We're also hoping to hear about the Terror Tram. The rumor of the Terror Tram has still persistently been that it will be the Terrifier Tram. We're even seeing some hints at the Universal booth here at Midsummer Scream. People are saying if you look in the background, some of the art, you can see a black and white clown kind of hanging out, the little glimpses of what looks to be Art the Clown in the background. It's kind of a cool way to see that before the announcement. So we're excited for that. But there is some other stuff we want to talk about coming to Horror Nights. One of those is kind of a major announcement, actually, for a scare zone, which is unusual. It's an IP scare zone, Fortnite-mares. So Fortnite is the biggest video game in the world right now. I've never played it. It's a Zoomer game. It's for Gen Z.
No, actually, I think Fortnite started when we were in college.
I just felt when it came out, I was too old. I just felt like I was too old for this.
We were about, I want to say I heard about this game from my roommate around 2017, 16.
That's when it popped off.
Yeah.
I remember being in law school and one of the students was playing it during an assembly, which I thought was funny on his laptop.
Yeah.
But it is a very, very popular game. And it is connected to a lot of different, pretty much any IP you can think of, including they have Star Wars characters.
Yes, I was going to say they have Disney.
Anything Disney. It has DC characters. It has Harry Potter characters.
Which is like crazy to combine all those.
Right.
IPs.
Any major, it has Dune. It has anything it has Sabrina Carpenter. Any character you can think of, you can play as essentially in Fortnite. You have to pay money, but you can get them.
Of course.
And this includes horror characters. So they have Jason, they have Freddy, they have Art the Clown, they have
Michael.
Leatherface, they have Saw, any horror franchise. And they usually have a new one come in every year and they call it the Fortnite-mares. It's like a nightmare, but Fortnite-mares. It's their Halloween event, and the game is the main mode, I think, becomes more Halloween themed. It's just a fun Halloween time for Fortnite players. Good for them. And now it's coming to Horror Nights in the form of a scare zone, which makes a lot of sense for Orlando because those scare zones are more like vibe zones out there is what I want to call them, where I know people just kind of hang out there. Again, we don't go to Orlando. I understand the vibes in Orlando for the diehards are very different, where it's a much more of a social hangout place, where I think Hollywood's event is much more, I am at a theme park and I will be doing the attractions and then going home.
Well, it's also the scare zones are I need to get through this place.
Yes, and our scare zones traditionally have been you keep moving.
Yeah, you don't stop.
There's even been we've tried to stop to take pictures. They tell you please do not
Keep
stop for
going.
pictures. Keep
Yeah.
moving. And
They get
the scare
aggressive with
actors
that.
in the scare zones are very aggressive in terms of if they see you standing still, they will come jump it. They will come get you.
The more scary you look, the more they will target you.
Yes. And also we've seen
the trick is to tell them that you love them. They'll leave you alone.
Yeah. And we've seen kind of the scare zone step back into the background. There used to be more of them in the park. They used to take over more areas as the event has become kind of more concentrated on what part of the footprint of the park it's able to use. Some of those have gone away. There used to be one to the metro sets. That's gone. There used to be one leading into what used to be the London Street. I think now it just leads to Secret Life of Pets. That one is gone.
Yeah.
So they've reduced the amount of scare zones.
They
Just
also
nothing in the lower lot
They
anymore.
reduce when they happen. I don't know if you recall, but when Horror Nights would open, it would open with the scare zones. The first thing you would see was the fire going off and then the actors running
Oh, they
towards you.
still do that. We don't do it because we are at the RIP lounge.
No. I've gone when I've gone as express, so with the plebes, and they didn't do that last year when I went.
And they definitely still do the opening ceremony where they run out at you.
No, they do that like they have
And they
times
do
later
the
on.
they do it.
All right. Well, this is a great.
You gotta agree. Who do you trust on this show? That's all I'm gonna say. So, anyways, this is the Fortnite-mares is going to be the central Universal Plaza scare zone, which is not the chainsaw people coming at you when you enter the park. It is near Universal Plaza. And that is an interesting place to put this. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to draw a crowd. This is going to get a big crowd.
Of course.
I don't think there's ever really been a Fortnite activation like this where you can see the props. People are going to take pictures with the iconic thing in the Fortnite is the battle bus. There's a bus on balloons that flies through the sky and you jump out onto the map and then you play the game. And I'd be shocked if they don't have a battle bus and people are going to take their picture with it. There's a lot of people are going to want to take their picture.
They're going to break into the battle bus.
And they're going to want, and I assume there's going to be, in Fortnite-mares in the game, you can buy a scary version of the skins of all these the original characters. And that's who I assume will be the scary characters. There's a banana guy. There's a guy whose head is a cat, and it'll be like the horror versions of those.
Yeah, I assume that it's going to be more exciting for all the Zoomer kids.
Yeah, you know it. I don't know if it's going to be very scary for someone like us. I'm not excited about this. I think it's cool, again, that they're reaching out to a different audience that you wouldn't be excited so much and they're coming. I do worry again it's going to draw in a lot of kids. That's my main concern, is that you've heard it from us before. We do not like how the event is becoming kidified.
Yeah, there's too many children.
Last year, it felt like they were reversing that trend. This year, they have Hellraiser coming. I don't feel like Hellraiser is going to be a kiddied up maze. It feels like you're bringing that IP.
Like I said
before, you're making a commitment to this is going to be very adult, which is good. I think I would not let a child go to Horror Nights. I wouldn't let someone even under, I wouldn't let a 13-year-old. I would say
16.
I would say 15, 16 is when you should start thinking it's okay to go.
Like, I think like some of these millennials, like our people our age, are having kids, want to like introduce them to something they love. But I'm like, there's a time and a place.
I guess I'll be a little judgy. I think it's the parents want to go and they don't want to hire a babysitter. So they drag the kids along. And then you got to deal with it, little Timmy. You got to enjoy this because I want to do it, which is not good.
It's like, you better not have nightmares tonight because I'm not going to deal with it.
So that's the one concern. But other than that, I think it's fine. There was a lot of pushback on this one. People in the Horror Nights community were not happy about this Fortnite announcement at all.
Well, because it's
actually a lot of it came from the younger crowd, which was interesting to me because Fortnite, I think, is a very mainstream thing. It is what the cool kids play Fortnite.
Yeah, but when you think horror, you don't think Fortnite.
Which is true as well, but they brought games that aren't Horror Nights before. It's been Fallout, not horror. And that was, I thought,
Last of Us.
Successful.
Last of Us is
borderline.
horror.
It's mostly drama.
Yeah.
I just think it's similar to what we talked about Ozzy, where there's this outsider culture that focuses on horror still to this day. We see it at this convention where these people feel, I don't really feel, but I think a lot of people feel I'm part of this outsider movement and we're really into horror movies. That's our special place.
Yeah.
And seeing something that is very mainstream like Fortnite barge in, they feel like you're coming into my place and these are people who I don't like and are cruel to me and they're coming in. I think it causes, and that was kind of the vibe I was getting from these posts I was reading of younger people who you would think, oh, they'd be into Fortnite, but I think they're very opposed to it because it is so mainstream and they feel it's invading their niche. That as someone who's maybe has a little more wisdom, a little older, I think just relax. It's fine. It's going to be fine.
Just enjoy the show.
Yeah. But I think that is going to be crazy congested this year.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see how they manage that. I think it's going to be crazy busy in that zone. There's going to be people who come just for this, especially in LA.
Oh, God.
For the Instagram, it's going to go crazy.
Well, again, like you said, this is why
I'm sorry, that was too long for the TikTok. They're going to be there for the TikToks.
This is why they're pushing it further in.
Yeah. So that's all we know for scare zones, but we do know one of the shows. This one was quite upsetting to me, even though I knew it was coming. The Purge is back at Waterworld.
Dangerous Waters.
Right. All signs point to it being the same exact show. I don't think it's going to be very popular this year.
I think it's the same
I actually
show.
don't. I'm not sure how many years. It's been more than 3. I want to say. I think it's 4.
Ever since post-COVID, it's been the same show.
It's been too long.
I think since 2022 was when we got back.
Yeah,
into it.
It's been way too many years of the same show. The show is. I don't want to knock the performers because I think the stunt performers do a great job. I think the stunts are fun. Again, this is one I would say again, if you haven't seen it, I would recommend it once. But because the plot, and it's weird to complain about, the plot is so bad that it distracts me. Mm-hmm. That's why I complain about it. It is so bad it pulls me out of the stunt show. And it could be fixed with a few easy rewrites. We've been over this before. They're not going to do that, I don't think. It'll be the same nonsensical plot where you can't really root for anyone. And not in a fun horror way, because you know you're supposed to root for someone. It's just bad.
They both suck.
It's just
both
bad.
Sides suck.
It's just really bad. I hate it. Hopefully this is its last year. I said they should just rerun the One Piece show because that drew a big crowd. Just literally, it's not horror, but let's just run that back from FanFest. They're not doing that. I'm really hopeful next year it will be Resident Evil because we saw that come to Vegas, and they do a Resident Evil show already in Japan. That's a stunt show that's very successful. Feels like it's a match made in heaven. Hoping for that next year. That might be my number one prayer for next year if we do resolutions again.
I feel like that's your wish every year.
But this it's getting worse every year. But it is back, so make your plans accordingly. I think it's not going to be a draw. I mean, the hope for a show, if you're not interested in it, is that, well, it will draw people in and there'll be less wait time. I don't think it's going to be the case anymore. I think everyone is interested in this, has seen it. But we'll see. I mean, I can't stop it. I can't stop it from coming back. I would much rather have another Evil Dead maze than a Purge show.
Yeah, I think the only way that you can really get rid of it is if a higher IP were to come in and say, like, hey, we want to be a part of the...
Or if no one's watching it, it's not cheap to hire those stunt performers and make them perform like that. That's a stronger wage, I think, than a scare actor. So.
Especially in California.
Yeah, and you're using the pyro and the vehicles.
The water and gasoline.
If it's just totally dead in the theater, they're not going to keep running it. They'll put the kibosh on it next year.
The gasoline alone is probably their most expensive aspect right now.
So that's the shows. Again, the DreamWorks Theater hasn't been announced. Just to remind you, the last rumor we heard about DreamWorks Theater was Late Night with Ted from the Seth MacFarlane movie Ted, which has yet to be debunked by something new coming there. So brace yourself. That would be a real trip if that one actually gets announced.
Would it be based on the movie or based on the show?
It's the same character. It's just based on Ted.
Yeah,
Mark Wahlberg's not going to be there. Otherwise, that's all we have for new events. There's something new to cover in terms of the tickets that was surprising. So 2 things happened. The first thing was ticket prices went up for Express and RIP Tour. Not a lot, but maybe like $30 to $50 based on which night you were attending. It went up. It is unusual. Mm-hmm. I think it reflected just high demand for what had been being announced. I think they obviously saw some of the numbers that they were getting. They said, we're selling more tickets than we thought we'd be selling at this point. So let's raise the price. I think they also might be anticipating, especially if Terrifier gets announced tomorrow, that's going to cause another spike. They wanted to get ahead of it. So it does definitely single. I mean, we saw last year, we talked about how like the crowds were crazy just getting in. And then throughout the night, the wait times were crazy. I think the fact they're raising prices signals that we're going to have big crowds like that again. We'll see. It hasn't come to fruition yet. So we'll be there. I mean, we'll be there the opening weekend. So it'll be hard for us to really judge how it's going to last for the full season. But something to think about if you didn't buy it. I mean, that's actually nice for us that we bought early. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, we got in. But if you haven't bought yet, and you want to go, it's probably time to pull the trigger because it might go up again. We don't know. More controversial than that, it was a little controversial. They raised the price, but that's within the limits. More controversial is they had revoked access to Hollywood Drift from all express passes. So it had been, we talked about this before, that when you went on the website, it said, here's what you get with each ticket. And it was pretty clear that the general did not have access to the new Hollywood Drift roller coaster. But it clearly said on Express and on RIP, you would have access.
Yes.
Like it was a highlighted thing on the main page. This gets access to this coaster. And one day we logged in to see that had been removed from the Express.
This week, I believe.
Yeah, it was like last week. And people called and said, what's up? And they said, yeah, Express no longer gets, even if you already bought the ticket, you can't ride it anymore.
Universal said we are no longer familia.
Now, there was some doubt in my mind about whether the roller coaster will actually be open in time. Now we know it will. It is soft open. So it hasn't been announced that it's open. If you go to the park, it is now open. You can now ride the roller coaster. They just haven't had an official grand opening yet.
Yeah.
So it will be open for Horror Nights. I think it is due to problems with the sound levels in the outlying communities. I think have been much higher than we're anticipating in terms of the screams.
Yeah, I've read newspaper articles that the people are complaining more now.
And Toluca Lake especially, which is kind of downwind of Universal Studios. That
the Gulf community around
they can hear the screams all the time. And there's much concern, especially going into the night, about how that works. So I think what they're going to probably do is it will be the first thing you do on Rip Tour, probably even before you eat. They will say, we're going to do the roller coaster now, which means they'll be able to close it closer to 9 o'clock instead of midnight. And they said just to facilitate that process, we're going to not let Express ride it at all. I imagine that was how it happened. I don't know. This is my own speculation.
My speculation is that they're going to do it at the end. So as the first guest, well, you can start getting on the Rip Tour as early as I think 5.
Yeah.
So they're going to be ending earliest, and it's just going to go that way.
If it's at the end of the Rip Tour, it'll be going till 1 o'clock in the morning.
That's right. Yeah.
Which is way too late.
That's too late. Yeah.
So I think it'll be at the start.
It's either going to be that or as soon as you climb up from the downstairs.
And I think it won't be, you can just go on whenever, and that's why they cut. No, I think that was the plan. I think now the new plan is to just end it. I imagine it's going to end around 9 or 10.
Yeah.
But now they've said that if you purchase your express ticket before they took that away, they will honor. They will let you ride it. So what I said was you don't really get brownie points for not doing the scummy thing that you were trying to do, but we won't knock you as harshly because you did kind of listen to the feedback and say, okay, we understand. But yeah, if you're going forward, if this is a priority for you to ride that, just go during the day. It's not expensive or wait for another event or get the Rip Tour.
No, but the Rip Tour is twice the amount of the Express.
Yeah, the Rip Tour is expensive. We've said it before. I think if you're a super fan, I think it's worth it.
Oh, it's worth it because you get the dinner, the parking.
Yeah, we're attending Midsummer Scream. We got the premium pass for that, and we've been feeling actually it's not worth it for the premium pass. But I think Universal gives you good value for if you're a super fan only. If you're not, then you're fine with Express. Okay, but that's it for the news. We're going to be back to record tomorrow. This will then be released to you for the subsequent day or the one day more. So we're hoping to hear about the Terror Tram. We're hoping to hear about the Latin American maze. We're hoping to hear maybe about some food. There's some spicy rumors out there about some new food IP coming.
Downstairs area.
And we'll see if that comes to fruition. I'm kind of hoping it will because it sounds cool, but enough teasing. We're going to go for now.
Yeah.
We're going to leave you. Our song's going to play for a little bit, and then we're going to come back for your episode. But for now, we're going to go do something else.
Wait, hold on. How long do you think Muerte will say he spent research time on all this?
160 hours per maze.
All right.
So we're going to be back, and we hope that you stick around. All right. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around. This is Undead Ed back with you. I am flying solo for this segment as Ozzy pulls the crazy train into the station. We are back from Midsummer Scream. As promised, we have, I believe there's 13 announcements. Trying to do a little math in my head here. I got them written down. Yeah, there's exactly 13 announcements, although not all of them were from Murdy's little presentation. I think he's counting music as an announcement. I don't really count that. So regardless, let's just get you the information. Always a fun panel watching him talk. Really cool to see how much passion is coming into these mazes. Really fun to see there's still kind of this auteur spirit behind them. So, of course, we enjoyed the panel, but that's not what you're here for. Before you go, we got to talk about everything that was announced. We have 2 new mazes, we have 5 scare zones, and we have 4 interesting other topics that have come out that you need to know. So, let's start with the mazes. Let's start with the biggest maze that was announced. It was the Terror Tram featuring Art the Clown. So it's not quite the Terrifier Tram, it's Terror Tram featuring Art the Clown. And instead of just rehashing the Terrifier maze that we had last year and just doing the Terrifier scenes we're used to again, or just saying it's art on the back lot, they've done a different approach. It's almost using the Terrifier characters in an original maze. This is Art the Clown does Christmas, taking some inspiration from Terrifier 3, which of course is a Christmas movie, but this was one that Murdy took us through essentially the entire maze from start to finish. He always does at least one of those on his presentations. We saw the concept art, we saw what each segment of the maze would be about. We saw the characters, we saw some of the things, and he described the plot. And there was nothing in there that I said, oh, this is just a takeoff of Terrifier 3. Maybe a little reference here and there in the video that plays before you arrive on the back lot, but really telling its own story about Art the Clown, who apparently loves Christmas a lot, who wants to celebrate Christmas every day because he loves wearing the Santa costume and causing mayhem, but he's on the Universal Studio tour, and he's told by the tour guide, it feels like Christmas is coming a little too early every year. People here really just want to celebrate Halloween right now, Art. We're not going to do Christmas. And of course, you should never tell Art the Clown no. This makes him very angry. He decides he's going to force everyone to celebrate Christmas. And he's going to be punishing all the naughty people, which are the guests on the tram who have told him not to do Christmas. So you're going to now enter Art's Twisted Christmas. There's several different segments you're moving through. It's not just kind of terror on the back lot. There's like a party segment. There's a deck the hall segment. There is Art's workshop, but instead of making toys, they're making they're tearing up bodies in there, of course, because it's Art the Clown and it's Terrifier. And there's also several original characters coming throughout this. They're characters, twisted Christmas kind of characters that they've done before. We actually covered this in a Christmas at Horror Nights episode. I think it was our second episode we ever did on this podcast. And this is going to be another take on. We haven't seen it in a while. They had a Christmas segment in Holidays in Hell. Not quite sure exactly when that was, but it's been several years by now. And you have to go even back further before they did a dedicated Christmas maze. They had a Christmas Scare Zone that was kind of like a maze. The Scare Zones were more elaborate back then. And there was, I believe Krampus was the last time there was a full maze that was just Christmas. But it has to have a history of having this Christmas Horror Night. So it's kind of fun to see that come back. I'm excited that they're not just rehashing, that it's going to be all new stuff. A lot of original ideas in this that just use those characters, which just shows you the strength of having someone like Damien Leone, who is on board with Horror Nights and is more willing to let you use his character in unique ways. Other IP holders are much more restricted, but you really have to just show what was in the movie. I think this is going to be a really cool one. Definitely a gory one. So if you're not into gore, maybe you like a more lighter scare, maybe you're just coming for the Fortnite-mares and you're not really into the heavy scares, this is probably one to skip. But if you are in for that, that's a good one. If you are a fan of heavy metal, particularly the band Ice Nine Kills, who are, well, if you don't know them, they're very well known within the horror community because most of their songs, I don't know if all, but a good chunk of them, those songs they're mostly known for, are all based on horror movies, particularly slashers. And they were contracted to do a song for Scream 7. People have been asking for them to come to do something of Horror Nights for years. Apparently, Murdy actually has known the guy who's the lead, he's the lead singer and he's kind of the front man for the group. So they had a friendship going for years even before. And this is where they're finally going to be coming to Horror Nights. They're going to be doing the entire soundtrack for Terror Tram. So not only is it going to be really intense visuals and really intense scares, you're going to be having really intense kind of screamo metal versions of holiday classics. They played us a takeoff of Joy to the World. It wasn't really recognizable as Joy to the World outside of a few lines here and there. It was that screamo type of metal, which is not my preferred type of metal. Not a lot of melody to it, but that's your kind of genre. If you're a big Ice Nine Kills fan, that's just another reason to get excited. I think for a Terror Tram, which can be kind of a weaker maze, particularly the last few years when we've been stuck kind of in the Bloomhouse doldrums. It was funny. Murdy made a pretty funny joke about how everyone online saw the Bloomhouse kind of arches go up and said, "Oh no, Bloomhouse is coming back," but he tricked everyone. He's just reusing them and repainting them. It's going to take you through these different segments of Art's Crazy Christmas. I think this is going to be a real step up from the last few years. I don't know if it'll be as much fun as I had at the Larry Larva one, just because I loved the campiness of that. And Art the Clown does many things, but he's not very campy. He's not really in that realm of horror, maybe a tinge, but definitely more the extreme side. But I think it'll be good. I think it'll have some good scares. It'll be very different from everything else at the event. And people are definitely excited to see. I think we are actually past, I would call it peak Terrifier, peak Art the Clown was definitely last year. The crowd was going crazy to see Art come out for the Horror Nights presentation. The lines were huge. I think now it's kind of calming down a little bit. Art's not the new kid on the block anymore. We'll get to the new kid on the block actually at the end of this. But I think it's still going to draw a big crowd. I think it's going to be really popular. I think it's a good get. I think it's really fun for Terror Tram. Interesting, they're not calling it Terrifier Tram. I assume this is due to the legal issues ongoing with the franchise. I think we talked about this in an earlier episode. But essentially the original company that financed it was a horror compilation that just very cheaply made, but they did finance Damien Leone to make the first short he did that featured the Art the Clown character. He then branched off and made the Terrifier movies on his own. They alleged that they gave him permission to make that movie, but they didn't give over the rights to the actual IP. So that is ongoing litigation. I haven't really reviewed the documents to know how it's going to resolve. I wouldn't presume to speak on that on my fun little fandom podcast. You're welcome to go do the legal research yourself. I don't want to implicate anyone here. But it does kind of seem like, because I've seen in other places too, they've been promoting Art the Clown instead of Terrifier. So it's either his lawyers are advising him, let's make sure that we're using the Art the Clown because we want to really separate that from Terrifier and be like, we own this character. Or they're worried that they might lose the rights to the Terrifier name. So they're saying, well, let's just use Art the Clown because it's safer. It feels legal because just the Terrifier Tram was right there. It's so obvious. It's so perfect. And they didn't use it, which makes you think there's someone else going on. But neither here nor there. The name doesn't really matter, I don't think. I think it's going to be a fun time. So that was 2 thumbs up. I would say on my hype level, maybe like a 7.5. I mean, I'm not the biggest Terrifier fan, but I do like the Christmas. I like all the original aspects. It's fun they're bringing in Ice Nine Kills as well. So 7.5 to 8. So it's definitely a positive for the event. The second thing that was announced, which was another maze. This is the last maze of the event to be announced. It is the Latin American maze. It's not Monstros. We are getting away from the Monstros theme. This year, the theme is KILLceañera, music by Slash. So instead of doing another Latin American folklore, he's taking an element of Latin American culture that's very unique to that culture, which is the quinceañera. We had the Sweet 16s in America are the closest thing, but the quinceañera does seem to be a much bigger deal in the Latin American cultures than Sweet 16 kind of had its moment where reality TV came out and went away. So it's something very unique to that culture and incorporating as many of the traditions as he could find into it. It's a story of a young girl who was very badly burned in a fire that cost her parents their lives. So she was an orphan and half of her body was just burned to ash essentially, but she's still alive. And the other kids bully her. And to get her revenge, she hosts her quinceañera and invites her 15 boys. It's 15 candles, 15 kills for 15 years of torment. And she has her quinceañera dress, and we saw a preview of it. It's all beautiful on one side, burned and destroyed on the other side. A little bit like Two-Face from Batman, but more quinceañera themed. The makeup for the character also looked really cool. We saw she will be standing above on the facade. I think it's the first time they've incorporated a balcony on a facade, so she'll be above, and she's actually going to be singing a song and Slash did the music, and Murdy himself actually wrote the lyrics. So they played that for us. It was, the Slash parts were good. That was kind of cute. Murdy was writing a song. It's a little silly. But the Spanish guitar that Slash was doing, that goes into the more traditional electric guitar solo that for Slash. I actually enjoyed that quite a bit. I think it's cool that Slash is doing the music again. I mean, he's done it a lot. It's not new, but I like it every time. I'm a Slash fan. He's one of the greats. I think it's really cool that he's so involved with the event, and he's just involved at this point because he likes it. It's not because he's out for the payday. So I'm glad we're getting another Slash maze. We've talked about so many times. We're not thrilled that we're staying in the Latin American theme. I still think it would be much cooler to go explore other cultures that have contributed to kind of the rise of Los Angeles over the last 80 years or so. Particularly, I think the next obvious place to go would be, Asian folklore. But at least it's getting away from the monstrous theme. For this one, I really have to see what is it like when I'm inside. This one seems to have more of a story going on. So are they going to do a good job communicating that story as you walk through? It's just going to be random, disconnected kills. Is the setting going to feel like, as if we talked about this before, how Latin America has more than one biome in it? And it's felt like every monstrous maze has been like you're in Breaking Bad version of Mexico with the orange filter. I want to see something fresh. So we've moved away from the monstrous. So I'm hoping this can deliver that. I'm going to put it my hype at maybe a 6. I like the Slash music. The designs they showed for that central character who's hosting her KILLceañera looked very cool. So I'm cautiously optimistic this is going to be a good one. But this is definitely also kind of it's in my wait and see pile, because I think if it feels like I'm going through Monstros 4, I'm going to be disappointed. So could go either way. And that's going to wrap for the mazes. But that wasn't all that was announced, because, of course, Horror Nights isn't only mazes. There are also scare zones we have to talk about. And all the scare zones were announced. We already knew about Fortnite-mares, which is kind of the main major scare zone. But we learned all the other ones coming as well. So the one that's going to be when you exit KILLceañera is El Circo de la Muerte, which is the Circus of Death. And it is very circus themed. It is loosely Latin American themed. Because it is outside of the KILLceañera, and it leads into that kind of Dia de los Muertos plaza. So they're trying to keep everything on theme, but it definitely leans very heavily into the circus. I'm trying to remember if there's anything specific. I don't think there was that felt very specific. Oh, this is very Latin American. It was very much just a circus where you have, the ringmaster. You have maybe a few clowns. I noticed there were a lot of the traditional circus freaks were involved. You have, the bearded lady and the fish boy and the geek, which was cool for me as someone who likes, all kind of old horror, kind of that old vaudeville stuff. And the circus freaks are something we not really kind of frowned upon today, but definitely part of the culture back then. And they have a place in horror lore. So I was happy to see them getting featured. So should be a decent scare zone. Again, it's always kind of a short one because you're just on your way to the next thing. But I'm happy to see that. I like the theme. I think if Alzy was here, he would say he likes it more than the Luchadors, which he famously did not like. This one definitely leans away from that camp and goes back into the horror theme, which is great. The little micro scare zone on your way to the tram is returning. It's still kind of swamp theme. It's heavy on the ghillie, so it's called the Blood Bog this year. And what they're doing that's a little more unique is they are enhancing those ghillie scares. So the ghillie scares when you walk past what looks like a kind of forested wall, a wall that they've put all kinds of leaves and such on, and there's a scare actor there in a full ghillie suit. You don't see him because he blends in with the wall so well, he jumps out and scares you. It's a good scare. It's got me a few times. It's one of the more reliable scares that can still get me at this thing because you really don't see the actor. This time they're trying to plus it by giving the actors more of a prosthesis, more mask, have more of a costume instead of just a ghillie suit. We'll see how that works. I'm curious how it'll work if they're going to be facing backwards and they'll turn around to scare you. Because if they have less ghillie and more costume, they won't blend in as well, or maybe they will edit the wall to make them blend in more. I don't know. We're going to have to see how that one goes. This is a very small scare zone, but I think it's cool that they're bringing back. I remember thinking last year it wasn't a big deal, but it was a little plus on a great year, so it's cool it's coming back. The opening ceremony, so kind of the main, not the main central plaza, which again is going to be Fortnite-mares, but the walkway up to it, which is always a similar but different scare zone. It is Hackerz with a Z. It's just your traditional kind of chainsaw characters, but done up almost like Tron, where it had these glowing highlights on them, these LED lights. And they said they did this to make it blend in more seamlessly with the Fortnite-mares character, so they're kind of that art style. Not not too much to get excited about either way here, but a decent thing. Again, it's remember the Fortnite-mares, which is really going to be where the scare zones live and die this year. The fan favorite Murder of Crowz with a Z is coming back, including the return of everyone's favorite scary puppet Baby Crow. This will be, I believe, his third year in a row. I remember the first year we loved it. The second year we were like, okay. Third year, I don't know. It's something that you'll walk through in a way to other places. But people do love the crows. If you haven't seen Baby Crow, it's a really neat puppet that they bring back. At this point, it's become an icon. At this point, it might be actually into the point where it warps back around to me. And now it's such a staple that I am excited to see it again. So we'll see how we feel about Murder of Crowz. Not too much new. A few new characters there, more stilt walkers, which is exciting. More new on the scare front. I think this is going to be right nearby Murder of Crowz. It wasn't really clear to me where this is going to be. It's going to be the Shriek of the Banshee, which is another very micro zone built around only one character, which is this Banshee character. But what's different about him is he's a stilt character, but it's a 4 stilt. So not only are the feet in stilts, but the arms are also in stilts. So it's kind of on all 4. It looked really cool in the concept art. I can't remember if I've actually been to Horror Nights, when I've been going for 10 years now, where they did a double stilt character like that. I've definitely seen tons and tons of stilt walkers, but the double stilt is different. They said they've done it before, but not for a long time. So it's cool to see them working in some old techniques, and they've been gone so long, it feels fresh. That covers the official scare zones, but we're not done. We're not done with our announcements. You may notice that was really only, I think, 9 announcements, maybe less. Again, he was counting, I think, the music announcements for his 13, which is a little cheated. It's a little cheating, Murdy, but we'll let it slide. There were other things that have announced both at the panel and have come out afterwards. Let's start with the first one. It's a little bit of a bummer, which is that the DreamWorks Theater is not going to be used for anything guest-facing. They're using it for something on the production operations side this year. So it's not going to be open to guests. There's no experience or anything to see there. This is where Late Night with Chucky was 2 years ago, which we thought was a big bust. The Chainsaw Man anime show still with subtitles. It was still in Japanese language was there last year, which was a bit of a people eater. If you were into the anime Chainsaw Man world, people did enjoy that. But this year it is out. It was rumored to be Late Night with Ted from the Seth MacFarlane movie, which I always thought was a very odd thing to put there. The wildest rumor I think I've ever heard. So not too disappointed that that's not happening. It would have been weird, but I'm not losing sleep over no DreamWorks Theater. We skipped it last year. I don't think the event really needs it, to be honest. I think if they don't have a great idea, it's fine for a skip there. Also returning, more exciting, I'm going back to the good news. So returning are the Death Eaters back in Hogsmeade. These are the followers of Lord Voldemort, or He Who Should Not Be Named. In the Harry Potter series, they wear these creepy masks and they have a lot of green magic. So it is a fun experience if you're ever just hanging out Hogsmeade during Horror Nights. It is kind of a fun place to hang out and catch your breath. There's a lot of good food options there. The butterbeer, a lot of the food is also kind of out in the lamps. Good place to sit. But it is cool to have this other something scary Halloween going on there. Harry Potter is kind of I've always thought it more Christmassy because it has a warmth to it. But as the series goes on, it gets darker. So it's a little bit of a Halloween movie. So I like having that representation in the park. I think if I had to choose between DreamWorks Theater or Death Eaters, I would choose the Death Eater. So I'm glad that's coming back. Also coming back, probably a little more exciting for most people, the roaming Art the Clown scare actor that we loved last year is coming back. He says, I think it's going to be very similar to last year. They didn't go into too much depth other than it's coming back. So I assume it's the same rules that he can be anywhere. So if you're eating, if you're shopping, I don't even know. Maybe the bathroom. I think they said that last year that you could come in the bathroom. I didn't see that, but nowhere is safe from Art coming up and giving you an encounter. We saw him both walking around the crowds in the lower lot, which was cool to see him because he was almost incognito where there wasn't a throng of people just watching him. He was just stealthily kind of moving in between, looking for his next scare, which was actually really cool. Even though we weren't getting the scare, it was cool to see that. It just made the park feel so much more alive. And he was also featured in the RIP dining buffet, which we also saw him there, of course. And adding on to the characters, and this was probably the biggest applause that they got all night. This was When I referred to the new kid on the block, that's what I was referring to. Freaky Nikki from Obsession, which is probably the biggest horror hit of the year so far. It was a real breakout. I think it is made like the most profit if you look at like as a margin of what it cost. It was made for like under $1 million. It's made, I think, 400. It's made a ridiculous amount of money. Good movie. I saw it. I liked it. I saw it when it came to Peacock. I streamed it. I liked it quite a bit. It reminded me of a Twilight Zone episode. So I think a lot of people who haven't ever seen the Twilight Zone saw this one and kind of blew their minds because it is very much of that style. Good movie. Definitely a recommend. And people are very excited for this character. There wasn't really clear how Nikki is going to be represented, whether she's going to be a photo op or if she's going to be a roaming character. My intuition was that she was going to be a photo op, either in the RIP photo ops after the Terror Tram, or the way they did like the Deadest pumpkins a few years ago, where there's a separate area set up where characters come throughout the night and then she'd be there to take a photo op. But the way they were talking about, they were very cagey about where she would be. So she may also have a roaming element to her. They said she's going to be, it's at the very end of the movie, and she'll be looking for her next obsession. So should be really fun to interact with. I think that's going to really bring the hype, because with especially the younger crowd, this is a horror movie that the Gen Z seems to have really latched onto as one of their horror movies. It's a very kind of Gen Z forward year between this obsession, and they said they really had to open it up because it was really last minute to get this one in. So it is a minor touch. It's also a movie that I don't think it would work very well as a full maze, but it's very cool to see it getting included in this way, and it's definitely bringing the hype. So that brings us to the end of Midsummer Scream. We now know everything that is coming to Horror Nights this year. I think if I have to look at this year, I said last year, it was a grand slam, and I said this year's probably going to be a step back. And actually looking at what they pulled together, I'm not quite sure if that's true. I mean, they've pulled down Hellraiser, which is a property we thought they would never get. It was one of these white whales. They're bringing back Art the Clown. They're bringing in the finale of Stranger Things. They have this, what sounds like an amazing Ozzy Osborne tribute. They're having just so much is coming this year that we thought, would it be able to come? The hype seems very high in the community for this year. If you haven't bought a ticket and you're interested, I would recommend you snatch that up, especially if you're looking at a more premium ticket option, because those are now beginning to sell out, and they also raise the price. So that's it. We are going to be back for our review. We might try to squeeze in a final overall preview to help you make that decision if you're trying to figure out whether or not you should go or not. We might come back to help you make that decision. If not, then we will see you in the fog at Horror Nights. And until then, stay scared out there. Thank you for listening to this recording of the Hollywood Horror Nerds. You can contact us through email at hollywoodhorrornerds@gmail.com or through our Instagram account, Hollywood Horror Nerds. Be sure to subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or your favorite alternative podcast site to make sure you don't miss the next episode. And until then, stay scared out there.